I was reading that, because of your background in theatre, one of the things you really love about walking onto a movie set is directors that really create sort of cohesive worlds. Working with Yorgos Lanthimos, someone who does that to the nth degree. The costumes and everything. What is it like being on that set with him, and how did that help you get into your character?
It's everything. I think the best thing a director can do, people have this fantasy where they're always pulling you aside and saying, okay, now remember your mother, and, they're talking about a psychology. That never happens, or at least it never happens for me. The best directors, and the ones I'm attracted to normally, there's always exceptions, are people that make a world, and it's so complete. You find a willingness and a flexibility, you enter that world, and then the world tells you what to do. It really happens. Even when people talk about choices or ideas, I don't relate to that so much as, you're in there doing things. And the trick is really to give yourself and work with what's in the room, see things, have it work on you, imagine another way of being. That's what I love. And a guy like Yorgos, some directors are just fixated on certain things, the way of shooting or the psychology or the story. He's the whole package. He's a very cultured guy. He knows a lot of things about dance, architecture, art, photography. He's got a wide range, and he selects his department heads very carefully and develops things very specifically with them. And this is a very designed movie. So when you enter it, you're also involved in that. And by the time you get into that world, not only does the world tell you what to do, but you have a piece of it because you were involved in making it. Your material. You become, a color in that canvas. And whenever that happens, that really liberates you, I think, and lets you roll with it. And then stuff happens, and I think that movie captures that kind of energy and that kind of joy.
Did you need a special preparation
for that movie?
For that character? Because in the end, it's very human. You're not expecting, but it's his humanity is unbelievable in the end of the film.
Good. Yeah, I think so. Not a lot of preparation. I learned how to do the things that he does. I worked with, it sounds wacky, but I worked with someone from the mortuary to learn how to cut and sew and do the things that a surgeon does. That sounds a little wacky because it's not like a method preparation. We don't see it that much in the movie, but what it does is it gives you an experience that becomes a foothold for the pretending. And then when you do it in the movie, you're efficient. And you feel like, yeah, I am a surgeon with a little pretending. You say, okay, I can do this. So there was that. I had to learn an accent. I also looked at videotape of the writer that wrote the book because he's a very interesting guy, and he's dead now, but there are videos of him speaking, and he was quite eccentric. His manner of talking was very helpful. It's not like I copied him, but it inspired me. So I looked at that. I read the book. And, I participate in the things of developing the wardrobe and the costume.
And what's the most important role that you have played in your career?
What?
The most important role that you have played in your career?
I don't know. It's a good question, but we don't need to know the answer to that, It's better not to answer it.
One last question, please.
Yeah, no, one last one.
Last one.
I always like one more.
Watching Inside was such a different experience too, because it was like an art performance which is developed before our eyes in live. Was it something like that, approaching the role in this movie?
I love doing Inside because we shot in chronological order.
Okay.
And I'm basically the only actor in the movie. But it didn't feel like that.
Okay.
Because, it sounds maybe a little too easy to say, but it's really true. My partner was the space. My partner were those paintings. My partner was the situation. And what was beautiful is there was a good script that gave us a good structure. But every day we were really problem solving. So it was a living thing. It wasn't like we had an idea and then we had to craft. You know, it from the theater I learned it's about doing, it's not about showing. And that's a perfect example of we were problem solving. That was at the heart of the movie. About the
Spirit of Marrakech.
the experience, I'm only here. I got here yesterday.
About the spirit, you was yesterday here, and I want to know what you think about the spirit, about the public, about.
It's been great. I mean, we only had the opening ceremony, but I'm happy to be here. Marrakech Festival has a good reputation. I also like the idea that because the programming centers on a lot of films that I'm not always able to see, and I may not be able to see them all, but it introduces me to work and filmmakers that I don't know normally. And then, of course, there's also, because there's a big international component, I'm meeting friends and people that I admire. It's a fun experience. It's a celebration of film in a beautiful place, and I'm happy to come here.
Did you get the chance to watch any Moroccan movies?
I just got here, but I take the catalog. Yesterday, I did see a Moroccan movie, and I liked it. And
Fawzi bin Said's
pardon?
movie? Fawzi bin Said's movie? Moroccan directors.
well, it was Animalia. Do you know this movie?
Yes, I've
Yes. And it's when you're here, because I'm here, not in the theater watching movies. I'm talking to you guys. But it makes you aware, and also creates the possibility to meet directors that you might not normally meet. And that's the beauty of a film festival, where you can have an exchange of ideas and recognize what your common interests and problems are, and recognize the differences and honor those, and go toward them, and enjoy the differences and bridge them as well.
And is that even more possible here because it's a little more relaxed and familiar than, for example, on huge festival machineries like Cannes?
You can do a lot in Cannes too. Every festival is different. It's colored by the location. It's colored by the direction. What makes this special is it's got that international component, and it has great hospitality, and it's as I say, a beautiful place. So there's a familiarity and kind of glamour that kind of elevates it, but then also the selection is quite wide and has a nice component of African films and Arab films and Moroccan films that don't sometimes get the same kind of play in other festivals. So I'm experiencing, the cinema that my view of cinema is broadened.
Please, Mr. Defoe, I want to ask you about the Lighthouse, which is such a unique movie.
Yeah.
And the touchstone in what we call now the new horror movies.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you were reading this crazy script?
I didn't think about it being crazy. I just thought, I want to do this. I was drawn to the director. In fact, I saw his first film, which was called The Witch, and I saw it without any fanfare. I had been away working, and I didn't know anybody that saw it. I heard nothing about it. Do you know this movie, The Lighthouse?
Yeah.
And The Witch. So I went in, and I thought, this is a low-budget movie, but this guy has something. Who is this director? And I told my wife about it. She's the director, and we went the next day, and I thought, I've got to meet this guy. So I met him, and we talked about working together. And after a short while, he said, "I've got a project for you," and presented it to me, and it was like that. So it was really the director that I was attracted to first. I mean, I always feel like, you read something and you don't know what it is until you get there. But what you can be assured of is, you can choose the company you keep. And that's one of the greatest insurances against not making a lousy film. Because even if the film doesn't quite work, at least you know why you did it. You're in the company of people that you admire and people that stimulate you. So it's really not so much about the script in that case, it's about the director.
So, as we all know, this is not your first time in Morocco.
Right.
You've been here before many times, like in the time when you were shooting The Last Temptation
Yeah.
of Christ by
Scorsese.
where you played Jesus. So my question is, how different is Morocco now from the 80s? And what do you think about the film industry today?
Wow, those are two big questions. I'm not here long enough to say anything really wise. I mean, it's the old story. Many things have changed. Many things have stayed the same. I've changed. Morocco's changed. The film industry has changed. It's all one moving piece. So I don't have anything wise to say, but I'm happy to come back. The people are very warm. I remember, working on Last Temptation, and we had a lot of Moroccan people in our crew, and they were fun to work with. They were sweet. I remember the nature very much because it was a film that wasn't shot in a lot of interiors, so we were outside a lot. I'm just happy to be back.
And what do you think about the movie industry, especially after watching the movie Animalia by Sofia Elawi?
I think the movie industry is changing so fast, so much. It's about how we see movies, and of course, I don't want to hang on to the past too much, but I still value so much the experience of going to the theater and being with a bunch of strangers, watching light on a screen and dreaming, and being together in that. The fact that a lot of people see movies on small devices, it's not about the size, it's about the attention. The fact that people see things on streaming at home, everything becomes like soap opera, There's a different kind of attention, and people go to series sometimes, and they treat it like their family. It's like social. It's not the social connection of going to a movie and discussing it after. It's really about going home and eating dinner or being with your partner and killing time watching. I don't know. It lacks that social dynamic when you have to go out of your home and make that commitment, and you're sitting there, and the concentration is different.
And it's also
that is lost. Huh?
It's also a collective experience.
It's very important. It's very important. I think it's humanizing and it exhilarates. So that's a huge change.
We just had this experience with Poor Things, which was really extraordinary, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
When you were shooting the movie, did you have an idea how good it would be and how praised it would be? Because it's receiving so much applause and it's deserved.
You don't know, but you're not thinking about that. You're trying not to think about that. And you're busy enough that you really aren't thinking about that. I knew Yorgos Lanthimos' work, and to work with him was a joy. It's a beautiful script. I can check the boxes. There's so many beautiful things about that movie. And I'm pleased thus far that it's received a lot of positive feedback from critics, and it's played a lot of film festivals, but it really yet has to be released. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays in different countries. But I like it very much. I think it's a very clever, first of all, the novel is beautiful, and then it's a very clever device to have this woman who's a woman in her body, but she's got a child's brain. And that doesn't make her an infant so much as it makes her learn very quickly. and also makes her not accept social conventions. So it's that beautiful thing of she's like innocent, but she's also the wisest person in the world because she's not tainted by, you know, a kind of compromise with certain social conventions. So it makes her see through all these things, and she just sort of is a truth speaker as she has this experience. And that's a beautiful device. And when you watch the movie, I think a lot of the humor and a lot of the deeper thoughts come from the fact that we recognize the restrictions that we accept, you know, as far as relationships, sexuality, all kinds of things. And so I think it's a fun movie, but it's also has real teeth, you know. If you really think about it, there's a lot of really things that touch you